Yvonne Ridley was born and brought up in a small town of Stanley County, Durham. She was raised as a Protestant from the Church of England and was part of the church choir. Ridley also worked as a Sunday school teacher in Stanley. Her career in advertising started from Stanley News, after which she went on to work on multiple platforms from the Sunday Sun, the Northern Echo, to being a journalist and the chief reporter at the Sunday Express. Yvonne Ridley experienced a massive turn of events when she assigned a trip to Afghanistan as a journalist. She arrived in the war-stricken country on 26th of September and scooped out news for 2 days wearing a burqa, a traditional garment worn in Afghanistan that covers the face and body. Sister Ridley was completing her return on 28th of September from Jalalabad, still remaining undercover and supported by her guides when her secret got out. I was simply doing my job when a camera which I had hidden in the folds of my burqa slipped out right into the full view of a passing Taliban soldier. Yvonne recalls he went crazy because cameras were banned under the regime. Then he pulled me off the donkey and removed the camera. Yvonne Ridley was moved to the Kabul prison on charges of being a spy after being held in Jalalabad for 6 days. Although she was never hurt physically, she describes the mental experience, saying, "Every morning I woke up, I thought, is this going to be my last day?" Although they were very nice, I just thought, these are the good guys. The bad cops are going to appear at any time now with electrodes and torture instruments, or I'm going to be taken outside and shot. During her stay in the prison, she was aided by a translator named Hamid, who came in one day and told her to be prepared and stay calm for the next visitor, who he described as very important, of high regard and respectable. She heard a knock 50 minutes after Hamid had left and unlocked the door using a key she was provided by her captors. There, standing in front of me, was a man who made my blood run cold, Ridley said. He was wearing an ivory gown which went right down to the floor, an ivory turban, and he had a light brown beard and brown eyes. His complexion was something which I was looking at, and I was thinking, is he wearing makeup? Because his face was shining, but the light wasn't shining on him. It was shining out of him, and I've never seen anything like this before. I learned later that what I was seeing was the nur on this person's face, Ridley described. The religious clerk sat down and inquired Ridley on her religion and what she thought about Islam. She took the safe route and said, "Oh, it's wonderful." I went off in praise and this faith that I knew nothing about. After a brief talk, the man invited her to embrace Islam, and Ridley took the opportunity to say, "Look, I can't make such a life-changing decision while I'm in prison, but if you release me, I will read your holy book and I will study Islam." At her response, the man smiled and left. Yvonne Ridley was released on 8th of October after it had been proven she was indeed a bona fide journalist and not a spy. Arriving back at home, Ridley remembered her promise to the man. Though she could have stepped back, she said, "As a journalist, it was quite clear that I knew nothing about Islam, and if I was to write with any authority about people from Asia, from the Arab world, from the Muslim world, I needed to know about Islam." Ridley read several books on Islam and described the journey, saying, "It was a very slow process. I didn't tell my colleagues that I was reading about Islam. It took about 2 years, but the journey very quickly went from being an educational one into a spiritual one." She read the Quran translation in English written by A. Yusuf Ali. It also had supporting notes with each ayah, and Iwan found it easy to read. Then she read about the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and was amazed at his splendor. At the end of the 2 years, I ended up embracing Islam, and it wasn't a great leap of faith. I'm still praying to the same God. I just do it in a more disciplined way, Iwan explained. She continued by saying, "Islam is not something you pick up and put down on Friday prayers. It is a way of life. It is the way you eat, the way you sleep, the way you think, the way you pray, the way you dress, and everything. It is a whole life support system. Yvonne Ridley published her account of the day she was seized in her memoir, In the Hands of the Taliban, in 2001, then released Ticket to Paradise, a novel, in 2003. She is also quite vocal on her anti-war campaigns, saying these missiles cannot differentiate between civilians and military targets or between a woman, a child, and a soldier. Reflecting on her views on feminism, she said, "The Quran makes it clear that women are equal in spirituality, worth, and education. What everyone forgets is that Islam is perfect. People are not." She was also voted the most recognizable woman in the Islamic world in 2008 by Islam Online. Yvonne has truly experienced a spiritual rebirth.